Well, so far, a nice start to this Tuesday morning, 30th day of May. Joining us this morning, we have some folks from St. James Episcopal Church here in Titusville. And we welcome our guests this morning. Good morning, ladies. How are you?
Good morning.
It's great to see you. Reverend Canon Martha Ishman joining us. And Martha, who'd you bring in with you?
I brought Edith Scales, who is a member of our congregation and also one of the directors of the soup kitchen, and Lori Powell, who also is a member of St. James and works on Bishop's Committee and the soup kitchen as well.
Well, good morning, ladies. Good to see you this morning. Thanks for bringing sunshine with you.
That's right.
That's nice to have that.
Yeah, where were you over the weekend when I needed you?
Well, there's a lot going on at St. James, and where would you guys like to start? I think we should maybe recap some of the events that have been going on in the soup kitchen and talk about some of the upcoming events this summer. It's going to be a busy summer, I think.
We do have a very busy summer, but the thing coming up quite soon are our open baptism at St. James. Some of your viewers may wonder what open baptisms are, and it's simply an opportunity to respond to the prompting of God. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why we may not get baptized when someone thinks we ought to or whatever, or we might not be too attuned to actually being in church. And it's not about being in church. It's not about joining in the church. It's about responding to God. Did you want to say more on that?
Well, I think there are a lot of people that maybe grew up in the church as young people, but they never made that next step and feel like something is missing in their life. And this is an opportunity to respond to that, to God's calling, as Martha was saying. And you may have children that you would like to have baptized and want to claim those promises for them as well.
It happens right during the service at 10:30 in the morning, and in our tradition we do not fully immerse. We simply have a basin and we baptize with water in the name of the Trinity.
Do folks contact the church often and ask about, let's just stay with baptisms. Are there a lot of questions? Are there folks that don't quite understand everything about what a baptism is?
They're free to come by anytime, and if they don't have time before that, just show up 9:30, 9:45 on Sunday morning, and I will go over everything that they need to know about that.
And I'm sure a lot of folks are also have that issue of, how much time is involved, and really it's a kind of a horrible thought to think about, when you're worried about time, because there's larger message that needs to be shared other than worrying about somebody's time to make time to do this.
The service itself is an hour, but it changes your life forever in ways that I wouldn't decide to predict. When I first came to St. James, they had been doing this for a number of years, and I wasn't sure how I felt about having baptisms when people weren't instructed in the faith ahead of time. But then I remembered about Peter, and we're doing this on Pentecost. This coming Sunday is Pentecost Sunday. And Peter came out into a crowd of 30,000 people, having received God's Spirit within him that day, preached to all of these people. 3,000 people were baptized. Now, they weren't instructed. They didn't have a series of classes. They were simply responding to what they heard as the good news. So it's that simple. It's nothing to be afraid of.
And you guys have 3,000 casserole dishes ready to go?
Yeah, right.
But that would be nice, wouldn't it?
Well, the other piece of scripture that would play into that is the multiplication of the loaves and fishes. So we would be relying on that if 3,000 people showed up on Sunday. I'm sure.
But that would be nice.
That would be terrific.
Yeah, that sounds like a problem you might like to have.
Yeah, we will do well with that.
I think there's also precedence in the New Testament that when the apostles went out to baptize, the head of the household wanted to be baptized and said that they and their entire household were also baptized.
That would be Cornelius, yes. Yeah.
How many times maybe does somebody come up to you, or do you get that phone call that says, I'm a new parent, or we have young kids, and we want this for them, and by the way, I never was baptized, or my wife was never baptized, or I'm sure you get that quite a bit.
Yeah, we have baptized entire families before. Now, we take all comers because they're not ours; they're God's children. Yep.
So that's going to take place this Sunday?
This Sunday, 10:30. If they would like to be baptized, if they show up about 9:45, that will be helpful.
Should they call ahead though, just to maybe give you a heads up?
That's any morning, Monday through Friday, from 9 to 12. That would be 827-3590.
The church has seen, I don't know, just a lot of growth. If you drive past there on a Sunday morning, cars are just parked everywhere. Mark's been visiting the soup kitchen on Tuesdays because the community's invited to attend those, and again, cars are lined up everywhere. Talk a little bit about just the success and what's been going on that keeps feeding that.
I would say it has to do with our young people. We are sending 12 kids to Camp Nazareth. That's from the 17th to 11th to the 17th of June. 12 young people, and most of those young people are there every Tuesday afternoon at 3:30.
Wow.
Just to talk about God, talk about their faith, and play in the yard. They like to do relay races and all of that. The other week we were up to the police station, and Chief Minch took us on a tour there. But that's the key. And most of what we're doing this summer are family-centered activities. We have the diocesan picnic at Waldameer. We have a kayaking trip in July. We have a trip planned to the Erie Sea Wolves. That's August 13th. For the whole family.
Wow.
That's what we're doing.
We've heard from many people, not just religious leaders, but a lot of different community leaders, that change within a community, within a parish, within a church, is done at all levels. But if a change is to be really effective, it has to be done from the children. I guess one of the folks that I'm thinking of is Chief Bob Wenner down at Oil City Police Department. Told me some years back, in reference to a drug problem down there. He says, "We'll fix this. The change is going to come through the kids." Do you find that also?
Well,
yes, the children have to be the ones that start making changes now. So when they get to be adults, they can help their children make changes for not only our community, but for the whole world, really, when you think about it. Mm-hmm. Children are the most important things we have. And they're the ones that want to believe in God, and you have to raise them with that sensation to believe in Him.
Well, they can have a big influence on their own parents as well, I think, too.
You have people who don't go to church. The children kind of pull them into church.
Yeah, I've seen that in some of my grandchildren, who have had a taste of church, and then talk to their parents and say, "Why aren't we going? We need to go." That kind of thing. So.
Yeah, I think they feel a commitment. They feel part of the community as a church Christian group, They pull other people in when they pull their friends in. Mm-hmm. And you get other children to come to church.
I think that's one of the successes of Tuesday's Soup Kitchen is a sense of community there.
Yes.
And we see a lot more children, a lot more families in the summer when school is out. So we get maybe over 100 people for lunch on Tuesdays, but in the summer it increases with the number of children that are also there.
Even teenagers.
And that's a wonderful work by itself. It really is. The fact that so much of the community gathers there. On your invitation, I have attended over there many times, and it's nice to see the regulars check in with them. Some of them I've gotten to be a little bit friendly with, and some folks have gotten offered a ride home, and we get to talk a little bit. One person experienced a death in their family, and it was good to be able to talk about that. You never know what people carry around with them, and when the opportunity presents, it's nice to just sit and talk with these folks over, coffee and a meal.
People like to come early and have coffee, come at 10 o'clock and sit and visit.
They like to have somebody to communicate with, especially somebody that's alone.
Oh, yeah,
and they
absolutely.
come and they like to come in and talk, and they'll be there for a couple hours just associating with people so they feel better.
And it's open to the public.
Yes,
It's free and everyone's
everybody.
invited.
And
Actually, the folks that cook and get ready are already there today. They're
really?
already at work. Yeah.
8:23 is our time. This is the Morning Drill on Stream Television, Armstrong and the Allegheny News Talk Sports Network. Well, the church is absolutely beautiful to look at, to visit inside, and of course to drive past. And there's been a lot of work done on the church recently. Talk about some of the improvements that have been made over the last couple months.
Well, we've put on a new roof. Well, we've repaired the roof, not put on a new roof. But we've repaired the roof. We've put on new front doors. We are getting ready to do some pointing and brickwork to preserve the stonework of the church.
Now, that was a slate roof, correct?
I'm sorry?
Was that a slate roof?
The slate roof, yeah.
Wow,
Yeah, that takes a little more expertise than just putting on some shingles. And
But it looks nice. It looks really nice.
It looks wonderful. It's the building. Church is about more than the building, but you need the building in order that all of these people coming through have a place to gather. So it's something that we do in the present. We have been blessed with folks that have taken care of that building up until now, so that it's here. It's a very old historic building. And now it's our turn to preserve it for the next generation coming. We're actually in the very early stages of design and capital campaign to help preserve the building. But it's, again, the building houses the activity. There are so many needs beyond the soup kitchen, and I've been getting involved with a lot of them in town, which is why we've developed relationships with the chief of police. We've developed relationships with the Y, of course, that's long-standing, and women's services. These are folks that live on the margins, and that's who we're called to serve. So you need a building just to house all of that activity.
It's quite a challenge, but knowing you guys, it's something that you love to do, and I think regardless of what the challenge is, I think you guys wake up in the morning and go, all right, let's do this.
Thank you.
One of the things that I have heard off and on since I've moved up this way, and by that I mean Northwest Pennsylvania in 2004, is the buzzword collaboration. And it sounds like in developing the relationships with the other entities in the community that you mentioned, that almost seems essential in trying to advance any kind of improvement in the community, whether it's to make sure that people have a hot meal, or that they're safe on the streets, or that there's a shelter to go to, or something like that. It's just these days one entity just doesn't seem to be able to carry it alone.
Right. And that's one of the principles behind Stand Up Together, which is a relatively new organization of folks
remember.
in town, and in January, one of their starter events was to host a Martin Luther King commemoration. And we started over at the Y. We heard Martin Luther King's speech, and then we had a candle procession
Right.
over to our church, where we hosted simply a gathering of people that wanted to speak to those issues of racism and equality and all of that sort of stuff. So yeah, it takes a whole, what's the overwarm phrase? It takes the whole village, but it
Right.
takes all of us working at these things. Yeah, you're right.
And that seems to be the case all the way around.
So you mentioned the event coming up Sunday, and some other things happening this summer. Is it an exciting time at St. James?
Exciting.
Is it an exciting time for everybody?
On June 10th, the youth of our parish are having a car wash. It's going to be at Advance Auto. They've graciously offered their facility to let the kids wash cars. It's free, but they are accepting donations to help them go to church camp this year.
Yeah.
Oh, very nice.
And we have 2 young men that are going to a national event in July, Episcopal Youth event, so that's coming up as well. You were asking if it's exciting. It's exciting because when I don't know which way to turn next, I know things are happening.
I think it's their job to kind of keep you on your toes, isn't
Yeah,
it?
well, yes, and it takes a village to corral me too.
Well, it seems like you've been giving this, all these challenges, right? And you're meeting them head on. So is there a point where you start to think, boy, I think we could do anything? I mean, that has to be pretty exciting.
Absolutely, bring on the 3,000. We'll take care of them.
There you go.
Yeah.
So let's recap real quick. Sunday, if folks are looking to be baptized, or maybe kids, they should call the church, get that scheduled. But if they do show up and say, this is something we would like, they could probably get squeezed in.
That's right.
Okay.
We take walk-ins.
All right. So what time should they get there?
9:45 Sunday morning. That way I'll be able to make them feel comfortable about what's going to happen. Otherwise, call the church and they'll be told the same thing.
Okay, so that's going on Sunday. Soup kitchen going on today, and if folks want to leave a donation, can they do that?
For the soup kitchen?
Correct.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But it's not necessary. It's not required.
Right. Now, for those who do leave a donation, what happens with that money?
Ida?
With that money, we are able to buy food at a discounted rate through Second Harvest. And every dollar probably actually buys like $5 or $10 worth of food when we buy it through Second Harvest.
Oh, wow.
So it helps us to provide grocery store gift certificates to people that have food emergencies, and we've been very blessed by the community.
Yes. It's a very generous community.
Generous community.
Excellent. Ladies, thank you so much for your time. Come back, keep us posted on what's going on. We'd love to have you back.
All right.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you.